Hey guys, GoldeeJr's back to more to your days, and this is my top 5 favorite draft picks in the first round. Now, at the time of this recording, the first, second, and third rounds are all complete, and I will be doing a similar type of video for the second and third rounds, my top 5 favorite draft picks of day 2. So this is day 1, next time will be day 2. These are my favorite picks based on value, not purely the best 5 players, because then I would be ranking possibly the first 5 picks in the draft or something like that. But this is based on how much I like the players that were drafted in this video and where I had them going based and how far they fell. We'll start with number 5. Also, stay tuned for an honorable mention. Tyler Warren. The Colts picked him at 15. I had the Chargers selecting him at 11. Now, my thought process for this, him falling only to 11 instead of 15, 14. I said, that's wrong. The Colts picked him at 14. Anyway, the problem here is I thought since the Colts were so clearly going after Warren and since he was such a talented player, there was going to be a team that would trade in front of him, in front of the Colts to pick Tyler Warren, or just a team that's already in front of him, like the Jets, would select Tyler Warren before he could even get to the Colts. So I had the Colts selecting Colston Loveland at 14. Something similar to that did happen. We knew the Colts wanted tight end, so a team did pick a tight end in front of them, but it was the Bears at 10 who selected Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren. Now, I'm not here to tell you which one's better, but I'm not going to tell you that Tyler Warren is the next Kyle Pitts prospect or Brock Bowers. But as the best tight end prospect and probably a top 10 player in the draft, it's surprising to see him fall to 14, and it's surprising to see the Bears select Colston Loveland over him. But whether Colston ends up being better or not, at this moment, he fell 4 spots farther than I thought he would, and I really do like Colston Loveland. Tyler Warren. The only thing I don't like about him is his number, to be honest. But, yeah, this is a great pick for the Colts. I would not be mad at all. I don't really think the Colts need tight end that much. They're either too... they were 8 and 9, all right? I'm not going to hate on them too much. But I don't know if tight ends really going to push them over the hump. But either way, you're getting a very talented player. You didn't have to trade up for him. I don't think you can be mad if you're a Colts fan. And this is my 5th best pick of the draft. Number 4, Jalen Walker. The Falcons selected him actually at 15, and I had the Patriots taking him at 9. Jalen Walker was an interesting prospect the entire process. In my first mock draft, I had the Falcons drafting him at whatever spot they were, 20-something at that time, because people didn't really realize how effective he was. He had a good Clemson game by the first time I did my mock draft. But even then, really, you had to watch the entire season to see how effective Jalen Walker was. And while I only had the Falcons drafting him once, I've always had him in my first round because Jalen Walker's a really great hybrid player. He's kind of like Caden Ellis, who's already on the Falcons, but even more athletic, higher ceiling by far. Now, the problem is he started to get a lot of attention as an edge rusher primarily. So we started, not just me, other people in mock drafts started having him go inside the top 10. Because I had the Panthers picking him at 8 a couple mock drafts back. In my last one, I had the Patriots trading down to 9 and picking him. So my last few mock drafts, the Falcons haven't been able to select Jalen Walker. So instead, I had them picking players like James Pierce and Mykel Williams, who I thought were more likely to fall. One of them did, one of them didn't. But in this scenario, Jalen Walker does fall to 15. Not many edge rushers are picked, and the Falcons got to choose between him, Mike Green, Mykel Williams, James Pierce, Ezrico, I don't know how to pronounce his name. But yeah, a lot of great edge rushers, but they select the hybrid, Jalen Walker, who can play linebacker. Sometimes he's kind of in a nickel spot, but not really. It's hard to describe it. Edge rusher, blitzer, he can really do it all on defense. His weakest game is probably pass coverage, but he's not too bad at that either. Don't expect that much from him at pass coverage. I expect him to be a blitzer, a pass rusher, and a run stopper primarily. But I had him getting picked 6 picks earlier. I think this is excellent value for the Falcons. He has a high ceiling. I wouldn't say he has a low floor, but he could end up just having to settle in at one position at one specific spot if because NFL is hard to be good at a lot of different things. But I think this is a great pick nonetheless for the Falcons. At number 3, I have Jahdae Barron. The Broncos picked him at 20, while I had the Dolphins selecting him back at 13. Now, Jahdae Barron rose to the occasion at Texas multiple times. He was really good. He even had some plays against Georgia, which is usually where the Texas players kind of fall off, like Kelvin Banks and having great games against Georgia. Quentin Ewers wasn't great against Georgia, but Jahdae Barron showed up in both games against Georgia. Great slot corner. I mean, listen, man. I love me a good slot corner. All right. Terrell isn't one of those. D. Alford is, which is why we noticed so bad how bad he was, because nickel is very important in today's NFL, and to see D. Alford struggle so much against mostly tight ends was not great. But Jahdae Barron, I had him going to the Dolphins. The Dolphins are trying to get rid of Jalen Ramsey. I thought, even though he's not really a boundary quarter like Ramsey, at least get somebody in there in the secondary as a replacement. The Dolphins ended up picking, it was one of the defensive tackles, right? Kenneth Grant at 13. And Jahdae Barron, no one trades up to him. He just falls to the Broncos, who I had picking running back. But, I mean, I can understand the Broncos' perspective here. There's a lot of potentially good running backs in this class. Jahdae Barron is one of the few first-round corners in this draft. It's Travis Hunter, Will Johnson, Jahdae Barron, pretty much. And Will Johnson fell to the second round, so. And Jahdae Barron doesn't have the injury problems. He's a great player. I'm really scared of the Broncos' defense because this defense as a whole is going to be dangerous for years to come. And they also have Bo Nix and Courtland Sutton, which is a nasty combination. So, I mean, this is a really good pick by the Broncos. At number 2, I have Matthew Golden for the Green Bay Packers, who got him at 23. I had the Seahawks trading up for him at 15. So, in my last mock draft, I had the Falcons trade down and select Michael Williams at 17. And I had them trading down with the Seahawks, who I had selecting Matthew Golden at 15. Of course, that doesn't happen. The receivers all pretty much fall. Burden goes to the second round. Megabuka actually makes it to the top 20, while Golden falls to 23. The Packers haven't picked a first-round receiver since 2002 before this. But now Matthew Golden is primed to become a great receiver along with Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, and Dontavion Wicks. That's a pretty... None of those guys are really receiver ones on some teams. Christian Watson maybe, but the other three no. But Matthew Golden was insanely fast, ran a 4.29, I think. Yeah, it was a 4.29. He's also way more than just speed. Usually the speed guys are just like primarily speed, but Golden's a great route runner, an amazing catcher, and he's the other Texas player that stepped up to the occasion when they played against Georgia. And he had to go against players like Malachi Starks, and he really won those battles. I was expecting Matthew Golden to be a top 15 player. I had him going at 12 at some point to the Cowboys. I think the fact that he fell to 23 and the Packers were able to snag him, even though receiver isn't the Packers' biggest need, as I had them picking... Actually, I did have them picking Luther Burden. I don't think receivers are their biggest need, but I don't think it matters when you have players like Matthew Golden at 23. So, the fact that I had them picking receiver who ended up falling to the second round, and then ended up picking a receiver who I had in the top 15 speaks to how much of a great pick this was for Green Bay. And I have an honorable mention, Travis Hunter. So this list is mostly based on not only how much I like the player, but also how much they fell compared to where I had them drafted at. I had Hunter at 2 to the Browns. He goes at 2 to the Jaguars. So it's not really a fall. So it wasn't really a great draft pick because of his value. But I think the Jaguars did a great job here. I mean, it's weird to trade away your first because you're probably not going to be good next year. The thing is the Falcons trade their first because they think they're going to be a playoff team next year. Does the Jaguars front office think they're going to jump to the first? I mean, not to the first, to the playoffs next year, or even a 9-8 record? I don't really know. But either way, it doesn't matter because Travis Hunter's that good. It seems like the Jaguars do intend to play him at both cornerback and receiver. just imagine on one side you have Brian Thomas, and then the other side you have Travis Hunter. Just it's going to be insane. He could also be the next quote unquote Jalen Ramsey, even though they play somewhat similarly, but they're not really the same player. Just like how Hunter and Brian Thomas aren't the same player. But either way, this is an insane trade up and a very fun player. This is going to get a lot of attention fixated on the Jaguars. Might even get them some night games, potentially. They might be thinking more than just how good he will be. There's a lot of advertisements and merchandise that's going to be going thanks to Travis Hunter to the Jaguars. And at number 1, I have Jahad Campbell, which isn't very surprising. I had the Bucks picking Campbell at 19, but he fell to the Eagles at 31, which is my longest fall in the first round. Who was drafted in that same round. I had Campbell going to the Bucks. I had him going to the Cowboys once, to the Falcons, which is as early as 12 to the Cowboys. And I don't really know why he fell. He's similar to Jalen Walker, and he can play in a lot of different roles. Maybe Walker's the better athlete, but it's not by a ton. Jahad Campbell still seems like a really good player. So much so that I wouldn't have been mad if the Falcons drafted him. I wouldn't. I would have been like, I mean, he's not my favorite guy, but he is someone who we need. The Eagles just keep getting players on defense that should not be at their spots. And including, like, you think about Jalen Carter. Think about Jordan Davis. You think about Kele Ringo, who fell to the 3rd round. Think about Nolan Smith and Nakobe Dean. And that's just Georgia players. But now we've got an Alabama guy who fell. It's Alabama, man. Like, these guys don't fall long. He goes to 31. Jahad Campbell. So, if you look at the Eagles roster, they have a ton of Alabama and Georgia players. They know. They play the toughest football of any teams in the country, Alabama and Georgia. Let's get these tough players and build them into the best roster in the NFL, and they've done that. Is it guaranteed that any of these players on this list are going to be amazing? No, but just looking at it, it feels like a lot of these teams got a great first-round draft. I'll do the same for day 2, as I already mentioned. It's going to be round 2 and 3. It's not going to be as based on how far they fell, because my second-round mock draft was just to see where they could go if there's no trades. It'll be more based on just how much I like a player and where he was picked, instead of just specifically how many picks they fell. But make sure to subscribe to this channel, GoldeeJr's and GoldeeJr, to see Titans franchise, which is heading into Season 3 right now. Tell me if you want any specific videos in the comments below. See you guys next time.